Welcome back to another edition of Drake's Triumph via What's the Play Productions. I'm Christian, here with Brian and Sportsfan, and we are here with our cornerback breakdown. This won't be a full 1 hour episode. We're just going to discuss our cornerbacks. And if you don't know, we have a former cornerback, defensive back on our panel. So we're really going to let him lead the way for this, use his expert opinion. And this is really going to be the sports fan showcase. And his opinion is our opinion, and if he's wrong, we're all wrong. So this is on him. There's a lot of pressure on him, but we trust his takes. So we're going to transition right into the first cornerback we want to talk about, Quinyon Mitchell. I believe he's cornerback one on my board. I got to review it before the draft, but for now, he's cornerback one. I don't know if he's cornerback one on Brian's board as well. But this is the first corner sports fan wanted to discuss. So, sports fan, get us started, man.
Yeah, when you usually look at corners in a draft, you're looking for a certain combination of size and speed, and Keon Mitchell has that in bunches. He ran a 4.33 at the combine, just about 6 feet, just clear 6 feet, and his long arms and pretty good sized hands allows him to jam at the line pretty well. And just watching his tape when I've been able to, um, he was second team All American back to back years, first team All MAC, and he just does a really good job of staying in a wide receiver's kind of hip pocket. When I watch a Senior Bowl tape in one-on-ones, when DBs run one-on-ones, they usually you're kind of in a disadvantage because it's not in NFL. Rarely do you have one-on-one routes like that, like receivers run at bowls and stuff like that and other events. But Cam Mitchell did really well. He pretty much won almost all his reps he tried to he had to match up with. He only lost, I think, like one out route, and it took one route, and it took a crazy catch from Roman Wilson, I believe. So just overall, his ability to stop on breaks and stay in the hip pocket of a lot of deep wide receivers that he was running against. And lastly, he's a really good at playing the ball. A lot of DBs coming out of college have a lot of trouble of playing the ball once it's in the air. They kind of have to they kind of get lost. You see it a lot in NFL. DBs kind of run into receivers or kind of get in the way and end up drawing fouls and stuff like that. He's really good of once he sees the ball, he attacks it like a receiver and catches it for interceptions or deflections if needed. Is there anything you want to add, Brian?
Not too much. I think he'll be very good in man coverage as you talked about. I wish there was a little bit more film I could have been able to watch, so that way I could give a little bit more of an in-depth analysis. But I think based on what we saw at the combine, and also as we said before, what we saw at the Senior Bowl, I think we all feel confident in him being our consensus cornerback one.
Yeah. Quickly, I'm going to add. I know a lot of DBs, cornerbacks in the league nowadays, the really good ones, they're able to play outside and inside. He didn't show a lot of inside reps in college, but at the Senior Bowl, he lined up inside a lot for the one-on-ones and other drills, and he performed just fine. So I'll assume with more practice, he'll be able to do outside and inside very well.
They'll probably just keep
Um,
him outside though, unless they want him to travel.
yeah, I'm thinking with his speed, he might end up traveling at some point, but I'm sure to start off, he'll probably just stay outside, keep it simple. DBs that can play inside and outside are really valuable in the league. That's why DBs like Trent McDuffie, uh, I want to say Legarius DK, he played outside mainly. Jalen Ramsey, of course. A lot of DBs that played inside are very more valuable because
Snead was moving before McDuffie got there, though.
yeah,
They were moving Snead
yeah,
around.
they were moving Snead around because they had Charius Ward outside. And Charius Ward had some snaps on the inside too this season. I saw. So DBs that can move around like that to match receivers that travel into the slot with motions and stuff like that is very valuable in this league. So I like Mitchell's potential, and he comes in, I think, as a really NFL ready pro. I don't really see where he can go wrong at if stays healthy. So I kind of like him as the best prospect and highest potential in this draft for cornerbacks.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I Mitchell is my corner one. I do think there is a little bit of questions surrounding, of course, the competition level he played against, and there was a lot of like off coverage. But he showed in the pre-draft work with the Senior Bowl, combine, his pre-draft workouts. He's shown his ability to work and press. So as long as you value that and what he's shown in the actual one-on-ones, because for a cornerback to consistently win one-on-ones is impressive because one-on-ones are designed for the receiver to succeed. So his ability to consistently win those, even in like it's in shorts and a t-shirt, but it is still impressive. that he's able to hold his own against the top receivers that he's going up against in this class. In the pre-draft work, I think I said this earlier, but he's been one of the biggest beneficiaries from the pre-draft process
Absolutely.
after the season ended, because he wasn't really a name that you were hearing throughout the season, but he got that invite to the Senior Bowl and really took off. And in the combine, he ran that great 40. So he's cornerback 1 and cornerback 2 at worst on a lot of people's boards, and I think that's probably why we have him cornerback 1, the size speed combination plus the pre-draft work that he's shown in the one-on-one coverages. So we can move on to your corner 2, as long as it's not egregious.
Yeah, Terrion Arnold from Alabama.
Okay, that's all right.
I would say this is more of I don't want to say a safe prospect, because when corners, I don't believe in safe prospects, but just from where he came from, getting coached under Nick Saban at Alabama, they're just known as a DB factory, really. And him and Kool-Aid in this draft kind of shown, just technical wise, why they was able to play on that defense for so long, so many years, and start and play really well. One thing about Terrion Arnold this year compared to last year, he played primarily just outside last year, and this year, because they had Brian Branch last year, but this year he was able to play inside and outside. He played both really well. He showed a lot of good recognition with routes and to play zone. He's able to press. I wouldn't say he's a lead presser, but he's able to, jam at the line if needed to throw off the timing of receivers and quarterbacks. The one concern I have with him, he's not a elite athlete. I mean, of course, he went to Alabama. He's still a great athlete, but he didn't run like a 4.4. He ran a 4.5. Make sure I say the right number. 4.5. Yeah, 4.5 flat at the combine. And he tried to prove him at the pro day. Basically ran the same time, but he's just under 6 feet. And I kind of compare him to, if you watch the Bears this season, what Jalen Johnson did. He had a breakout season. He was like a top 3 corner in the league. I think Jalen Johnson compares well to what Terrion Arnold is now coming out. So it's more so he won't probably be able to match up with the real like elite burners of the league to start off, until he kind of figures out how to kind of pace himself to really match that kind of speed they have. But overall, I feel like he should be able to guard most receivers in the league, outside, inside. He has the ability to kind of stop on their routes and stay in their hip pocket really well. Um, don't really have many concerns other than his long speed. He won't be able to really play outside and press, because I feel like once he gets stacked by our receiver, it's kind of done. The game plays pretty much over. He's kind of cooked. But other than that, I think he'll be able to be really well coming in and fit into many schemes in the league. Um, you know, coaching and Nick Saban, I feel like he's kind of ready for almost anything. If you have anything
I
to
think
add, Brian.
he's probably the safest corner prospect in the class, just because there's a clear role for him. Even if he doesn't necessarily succeed as an outside corner, he'll probably easily be the best slot corner in this class. Just because he has great technique. He's good in man, but like you said, he may not have the success in press just because he's not a size, speed, strength type of cornerback. So he's not going to immediately win on the outside against like the faster or the stronger or the bigger receivers. But in the slot, he'll be able to hold his own, because it's more about being quick than it is about being fast there. So he'll be able to hold his own against the slot receivers in the league, or just reading zone coverages there. So I think he is a safer prospect. I mean, the only reason I don't have him over Quinyon or Nate Wiggins, I think, is just because he probably doesn't have that high end upside. But he's a safe prospect, especially in this type of class where the corners probably won't really go to the teams. So I wouldn't be mad at a team if he's the first corner off the board, just because you're probably getting a solid to above average cornerback for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add, I didn't talk about a lot because it's not necessarily a requirement to play deep cornerback in the league at this point, but I do like corners that can tackle. And I think
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell can tackle pretty well. And I think Terrion Arnold, other than one DB we'll talk about later. Notice I said DB. One person we'll talk about later. He's I would say Terrion Arnold's really he's a willing tackler. He'll lay a hit if needed. You kind of need to if you're gonna play Alabama. So
Yeah.
him and Kool-Aid are pretty good tacklers. If you have anything that you want to add, Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a couple of guys in this list that are pretty good willing tacklers. But as far as Terrion, I feel like, kind of like CT said, it's a situation where if he gets drafted later, and is able to start as probably like a cornerback too, probably helps him, because you don't have to worry about going against maybe like the AJ Browns, and you may go against guys like Devontae Smiths. so that way you
Mhm.
can kind of work on your outside game while not being relegated to the slot just to start out. I have him as my cornerback 4 right now, but he'll probably move up to 3. Um, it's just right now him and Cooper are like 3A 3B for me, so it's a little preferential. But I think I think when by the time we probably do our mock draft, I think he'll move up to 3. 'Cause I think I like his fluidity, and I think he has a little bit more recovery speed than Cooper does. But I think right now with Cooper, I'm looking at his measurables, and I think that's what's got me got him at 3 for me right now.
Got you. I can see that. What's anything else I wanted to add about Terrion Arnold? He led SEC in pass defenses and interceptions. If you care about that type of stats, and that's about it. Like me and Mingle said, the main concern is his long speed, his recovery speed. If he needs to like catch up if needed, it's going to be tough. But Jalen Johnson made it work, and he basically came out with the same 40 times. So I'm sure more practice and more reps, he'll be able to figure out how to balance that risk factor that comes with that lets you use your speed in better ways. So I'm interested to see how he looks in the league. So that's our cornerback two. I don't know what Brian and Mingles. I think Mingles said Nate Wiggins is cornerback too.
Yeah, I think he said Terrion's
Right
2 for me
now.
right now.
Yeah, Nate Wiggins is my cornerback three, but this is the thing about Nate Wiggins. I believe he has the potential to be the cornerback one this draft when it's all said and done. Because when I I believe this in this draft, movement skills alone, he's number one cornerback wise. Nobody in this draft moves like him.
Hmm.
Just straight line or agile. He just moves on a different speed that anybody else has. And the main problem with that, well, I won't say problem. I think the main cause of that is how light he is. That's why I can't be too confident in him working. When you're that size, I want to say he's an outlier, being 6 foot 173.
Yeah.
What's it?
That's
No, go
not a
ahead.
lot
Go
of
ahead.
not a lot of outside corners is that size. I know some shorter corners that might be near that weight, but to be 6 foot, um, it's I can't see him. I tell him I don't see him in a defense where he has to like play the line scrimmage route or like really press. But a lot of teams don't use that nowadays anyway. They run a lot of that Vangio cover four type scheme where you kind of play off and you read coverages and read the zone. You don't really have to press. That's what probably he plays best. He can just sit back and use his athleticism really to really break on routes if needed. I didn't see no trouble with him staying with receivers. Rarely did I see a receiver just outrun him. It's really hard to do when you run a 4-3-3. Want to be sure? A 4-2-8, my fault. I
Four
understand.
two. I was about to say it was 4-2 something.
4.28, yeah. I think he had a 10.7 broad jump. Yeah, he's athletically gifted really well. So the problem is, same time, another issue with his size. I'm sure also plays into he got injured a lot at Clemson. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure what was the cause for injuries. I'm sure he had different injury. People play football, you get injured a lot. So I'm just concerned going to the league. If he goes up to more physical receivers, he might get injured more. He pulled his groin at the combine after running that 4.28. He ran so damn fast he got hurt. So it's like it's that injury risk, and but you can see the potential if he stay healthy of what he could be. It's just I don't see him, playing press, but otherwise I see him can do anything else. He won't be as good as a tackler. He tried. I'm not gonna say he didn't try. He sure
He
did
did
try.
try. Yeah,
He
he
did
he
try.
gave he gave pretty good effort in comparison to other corners in his class. He gave really good effort. He's just light, so it's not going to be that effective.
Yeah, but I say if you can give effort, that's more than enough as a DB. If you can just slow him down, let your help from your linebackers and safeties come down and make a tackle, that works. You don't got to make every tackle. You just got to slow him down. Let your
Bryson
help.
Edge.
Yeah, and then I think that was pretty much everything. He was pretty much elite on coverages. Over the last two seasons, he played 23 games. So it isn't terrible. He combined for 25 pass defenses. He had put 25 pass defended. It's like at the end of the day, it's just more so getting his health right and then probably bulking up. I would actually prefer if he can somehow reach, well, he's 173 now, if he can reach 180 and he is, instead of being a 4.23, 4.28 athlete, he's maybe like a 4.33 or 4.35. I still
Hmm.
think he'll play just fine in this league. Of course, you gain weight, you probably lose some speed, but just durability wise, it'd probably be better for him to get a little bulkier, up, and I'm sure they're going to do that in the league. Rarely do I say that, but there's a corner that got drafted last year, and he somehow came out. It looks like he's lighter year two, so I'm not sure. I mean, worst case scenario, he's like Emmanuel Forbes or well, dude that got drafted by Titans a few years ago.
Caleb
Not
Farley.
Fulton. Oh,
Caleb Farley. Yeah,
Farley. Yeah, yeah.
he came out with not similar injury concerns, but he came out with injury concerns, and he also couldn't stay healthy. But he was a really gifted athlete, so hopefully Nate Wiggins has had that issues because I believe he has the potential to be a CB1 in the draft and in the league overall. It's just not a lot of DBs that move like him.
Yeah.
I
I
think
got
look.
for Nate Wiggins. I mean, it's kind of like you said. I can see a lot of these corners being cornerback one in this class once it's all said and done. But for him, I think he probably has some of the better ball skills in the class. Whether that's making an interception on the ball or just making a play on the ball in general, especially down the field. Being able to use that long speed, anything over the top. If he's slightly beat, he's able to recover because he has a good sense of where the ball is and where it's going to be. Um, One of his better plays, he ended up actually hurt on, so that just goes back to the injury concern. That's probably my main concern with him is the injury concern. But the other thing is, the size, not just because of the injury concern, but he could get pushed around on the field depending on what type of receivers he goes against. So I don't think he will be in one of those press man type of systems. But that the Big Fangio quarters defense that's running the league right now, he's a perfect fit for that.
Yeah,
He'll thrive just running down the field, making plays on the ball down there instead of being right in the midst of the action as much. Um, but I do think he has good man ability. I just don't know if his size will allow for it.
yeah. I think I want to compare him. I like doing comparisons. I would compare him to. I don't think he's tall. He was tall as DRC when he came out, but
Hmm.
Dominic Cardi, I see him as a similar type athlete. And DRC was never a good press corner, but when he came down to being running with a wide receiver, it was really hard for receivers to just run away from DRC, and he was really good in zone when needed. So
And he
I'm
made good plays on the ball.
Yep.
He made good plays on the ball as well.
Yep.
yeah, and he did it for a very long time for a lot of different teams. So DBs like that, they stay in the league for a long time. Did I give a comparison for Mitchell? I feel like I can
No,
give
I
it.
don't think he did.
I'm gonna go. They probably people don't probably remember him as he good as he was as he is now. But Marcus Peters, when he came out
Hmm.
for Quinyon Mitchell, of course, Marcus Peters had this certain he had this ability to gamble a lot. I don't think Mitchell gambles a lot, but when Marcus Peters locked in, I can see Mitchell playing the game in a similar way.
So would Trey
Mitchell's
Diggs
fast.
be another one potentially?
Diggs could work too. But Trey Diggs is more Trey Diggs now, not Trey Diggs when he came out in the draft. Trey
Okay.
Diggs now, yeah, I can see that. Um, Trey Diggs has probably the best ball skills of any corner in the league right now, to be honest with you. And if Mitchell can get to that level, it'd be nice. Did anybody else have anything to say about Nate Wiggins before we go to CB4?
Just real quick. On the weight situation, I think he weighed in at 182 in the pro day. So I think he is getting back to.
Weighed 182. He did weigh 182. How the hell?
Yeah, he was one.
Oh,
Yeah, he was 173 at the combine. Yeah.
I think he did. He weighed 182 at the pro day, but he didn't run no 40 or nothing.
Yeah,
He
he
just did
didn't
a
do
skid.
anything else. He didn't test or anything, but he weighed
He
No,
was
182.
hurt.
if he could drop that 182, that's a good weight.
Because I
And
was
if
gonna
he's
say
still
he
more,
played at 185. He played at 185 when he was in school, and
He
yeah, he
dropped
played at
that weight for
185 when he was in school. So once he got back to 182, I think he was okay. And like CT said, I think in the first mock draft episode or the combine episode, one and two, he was saying how he probably tried to get down to 173 so he could run that 4.2. So that's probably why you had the groin injury and other stuff. But now they're probably building him back up, so it can probably be somewhere between like 185, 190 when it's time to actually play.
yeah, you run that forward too, man. You can call the family, tell them they locked in. So good to go. Hey, you get the 180, you get the 185. He's not that far if he laid in a 182. He's good to
Yeah.
go. Just gotta stay healthy. But I think all our cornerback. Well, you said C3A, but I think me and Ming was cornerback for Scuba DeJean. Um,
for now. Yeah, might
for
have
now.
to move back up.
I didn't think Cooper DeJean was. He kind of surprised me with how he moved at the not his comeback. He didn't participate in the comeback, but at his pro day. He ran a 4.44, and his vertical jump was a 38 inches. His broad jump was 10.4. He's a special athlete.
Yeah, that athletic
Mm.
score, I did not expect that.
And I want to say, I'm gonna double check, but I'm pretty sure he's the heaviest cornerback.
He's like 203, I think.
Like 202, 202. He weighed a 202 at pro day, 203 at the combine. So it's like,
He looks like it.
yeah, he's built different than almost every corner that's in this draft, other than a few that's coming in like later rounds, but they don't move like Cooper DeJean do. I don't really see him as a corner though, primarily. I see him as a DB, and it's not like it's bad or something like that. He's a versatile piece. He can play almost anywhere in the secondary, and then coaches are gonna love players that can do that. That can play the run like he do. He can play the pass like he do. He guarded Marvin Harrison, and he, Marvin Harrison still won a lot of reps because I mean it's Marvin Harrison in the day, but Cooper Jean still won a lot too. So he played press pretty well. I wouldn't say he's elite at anything, but I don't see too many negatives. So he's just a really a good all around DB. I want to say the main, other than the injury that kind of helped him out the combine, that's the main thing. But he he can play the nickel, of course. He can play outside corner. He can play safety. It's kind of where whatever team drafts him kind of needs him. And I've seen him get mocked to the Packers so damn much. I'm fully expecting him to be a Packer at this point. And he will pretty much fit the scheme that they ran. They still run a fake Fangio scheme, and if needed, he can press. It's not too much to say. I want to say his one weakness is, of course, he's fast, but I wouldn't say he's explosive. Like, he's
Yeah.
not quick when he gets out of his breaks, but
He's
he's
not as
still,
smooth as a mover.
yeah, he don't, I think that's also because he's 200 pounds. I don't know many DBs that can be fluid at 200 pounds. I don't know any, to be honest. That's a corner. That's why I said he's probably better at nickel or safety. Yeah, he's not fluid like with his hips, but otherwise, he's a damn good DB. I wouldn't want him to just be a corner on the outside. I don't think that's how he makes his value in the league. I don't think that's how teams view him either, because everywhere I see him, they view him as a nickel, a safety, a corner, or whatever kind of what's needed at the time. So I'm interested to see how he's used in the league. 'Cause I don't know many DBs that's used that way other than
Tyrann Mathieu.
Tyrann Mathieu and Jalen Ramsey at this point.
Jalen at this point, yeah.
Yeah, and those are two of the most versatile, valuable DBs in their prime in the league. Jalen Ramsey's still kind of in his prime, and Tyron is still, towards the end of his career. But they both played 10 plus years, and they'll both be all decade. Tyron was already all decade for the last decade, and Jalen will probably be all decade for this decade. So DBs like that develop in this league, and we'll see how Cooper DeJean looks in the league, because he'll be one of the only corners or DBs in general that look like he do. Because he's white. So we're gonna see.
Yeah.
I mean, be
Yes.
honest with you. When was the
The
last?
top side.
The last white corner
Jason
was.
Sehorn.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. So
He, like Bomani would say, he's gonna need some advocates
yeah,
to say he's gonna stay a corner, because
yeah.
like you said, they're probably gonna be first day. They'll probably be asking if he can play safety.
They're gonna be like, so you seen some Harrison Smith tape? We think you can play like that. And we'll see how that looks. But I don't know. I think that's a shame to just shove him at the safety spot and tick him there. He should be able to play pretty much wherever needed for the defense. Really smart reader. He did a really good job at reading routes and reading route patterns to really see where he should be in his depths and where he should be on depending on the play. So he's my cornerback 4. I think he's probably the best DB in the draft, but not the best corner.
That was literally going to be my point. I was going to say, like I was saying, how I could see any of my top 4 really being the best corner out of this class based off however the situation in the NFL goes. But for DeJean, him being the best in this class, he'll be the best DB in the class. Like he's not just going to be your outside guy who locks up a wide receiver because that's just not what he's going to be best at. Like he can probably be decent or good at it, but you're not using him correctly if that's all you're doing with him. I think he'll be a nickel guy for a decent amount of time, or he'll be a safety throughout different portions in his career, especially probably towards the end. But that's where you'll probably see a lot of his best work when he's being moved around and being that valuable chess piece for whatever team he's on.
Yeah, I want to also make note that he'd probably be best in a zone scheme than a man scheme, but not
Mm.
too many teams in this league run primarily just man. Off the top of my head, I only know when the Patriots ran a lot of man. There's another team that ran almost strictly man. And it's skipping my mind, but like the fact that I'm forgetting means it's not that many teams to begin with. So
So
he should be able to be fine as a zone corner, zone safety.
so is there a specific zone like cover 2, cover 3, or you don't doesn't matter to you?
Cover four is the most popular scheme now, but I know some teams that ran cover two this season pretty well. He can probably run cover three. That's that Seattle type cover three. I
Yeah.
think.
I
I'm
think
a
he'll be good in any of them. I mean, you just got to move him around to where he'll be successful, though. I don't think you want him being your true outside in a cover three, maybe that's it. If you're running cover three, maybe you decide to move him into the slot. So he has a little bit more room, more work to do in the middle of the field than having to run down the field with the more athletic receivers because he's fast, right? But like Sportsfan said, he's more fast than quick.
Mm.
So the quick moves may get him on the outside, and then you may see things that you don't want to see out of your corner. But I mean, any zone scheme, I think he'll be able to accomplish because I do think he reads the field well. He's a sneaky athlete, and he's able to get the job done when the job needs to be done. Maybe he's not a man-to-man press corner guy, but that's not what you need to see at all times. We're living in 2024. Like the most valuable position on a lot of defenses is the slot. You see, the best defensive back for the last decade has been Jalen Ramsey, and he's made his money from being moved all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
They made a new position just for Jalen Ramsey, call it the star.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need to draft a corner just to stick him on the outside. If he's gonna give you work from the slot, then that's where you put him.
Yeah. If Arizona makes that trade down with
Hmm?
Minnesota, I'd be interested to see if they take him at 23.
Oh, 23. Oh.
You thought I
Boy,
was
I
gonna say
thought you
11?
11. Oh, I was about to lose my mind. Nah, Pitt, man. I feel like he'd do wonders in that scheme. He's kind of, yeah, he'd be great. With him, Buddha, and Jalen Thompson, it'd be interesting to see how they move him around. Because we already drafted a slot corner last year that I feel like they feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable keeping in the slot. So overall, that they'd be a nice
So Nate
set of
would
deep.
probably be a better fit for y'all than Cooper.
Yeah, yeah, but that's size. Then again, you run a Banjo scheme anyway. Who the fuck cares about no size? Nick Wiggins would be nice. Trying to think comparison wise, as a corner, I would say Kendall Fuller. As a DB, trying to think ones I've seen. Maybe CJ Gardner Johnson,
You
maybe
go Kendall Fuller again, man. He got that work done in Kansas City at safety.
at safety, exactly. So we'll
That's actually
see.
a really good comparison.
Yeah,
It's
I
like the
feel
guy who can get stuff done in the slot, but you don't really. I mean, you may value more of this stuff on the outside down the line. That's what Kendall Fuller was. He was a slot guy his first few years. Then he got moved to free safety in Kansas City.
then he
Then he
became,
finally started playing outside once he got back to Washington. So maybe that's what we're looking at here.
and he played all three positions pretty well. Kendall
Yes.
played the slot very well. He ended up getting traded for a QB. When you're getting traded for a QB, that means you're a damn good corner, as we
Mm-hmm.
saw with Kendall Fuller is, and I saw with DRC, unfortunately. But yeah, traded DRC for Kevin Cobb. All right, anyway, but yeah, traded for game of safety, and they came back to Washington as an outside corner. He played all really well. PFF loves them some Kendall Fuller, so I got it. Where's Kendall Fuller right now? Is he still in Washington, or did he go somewhere else?
Is he a free agent now?
He signed somewhere.
Let me see.
Was it Miami or is it somewhere else?
I feel like it might be Miami to replace. I think it was Miami to replace.
He's not. He's not with us anymore. We've lost him.
Yep,
You are
he's with
correct.
Miami.
Miami.
He's
Yeah.
replacing Xavier Howard.
That's a good pickup for them.
Oh yeah, Xavier did leave. I forgot about that.
That's a good pickup.
Xavier's now I don't know. Oh. No, he's still a free agent. Okay. That's why I thought I was tripping. No, he didn't get signed nowhere. Last corner I have really that I want to talk about. Then I'll talk about some honorable mentions. Last corner is probably Kool-Aid McKinstry for sure. I'm pretty sure for all of us. I think he's all our CBs fives. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, he's my CB5.
What you got, Mingles? Is he CB5 too, or is it somebody else at your CB5?
It's either Kool-Aid or Ennis. I'm still trying to decide. I like Ennis.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now too. But I think I like Kool-Aid. I think Kool-Aid's a little bit more fluid than Ennis, so that's why I have Kool-Aid at 5 right now.
Fair. I like Kool-Aid just because I won't say he's taller than us. They're pretty much almost the same height. I
Which
just feel
surprised
like,
me.
yeah, I know, right? They seem like Kool-Aid's way taller. That's the kind of thing I like about Kool-Aid. He plays way taller than his actual height, which is kind of good in this league. You can match up with outside corners really well. I feel like Kool-Aid's it's funny coming into this year. I'm pretty sure he was CB1 for a lot of draft analysts and experts, and I wouldn't say he had a terrible season. It's just other DBs had better season that kind of stepped up. Um,
And he didn't throw his way as much.
yeah, they almost threw at Terrion Arnold a lot, which gave Terrion Arnold the chance to shine and show that he's a really good corner too. But Kool-Aid just had to deal with being just the primary outside cornerback in Nick Saban's scheme, and he didn't really have to get targeted because they was pretty much fair to him at that point. He's not a really he's faster than Terrion Arnold, but I would still say he's not as much the athlete of the other DBs we talked about, Nate Cooper or Quinyon Mitchell. But he ran a 4.47 and he had a 10.1 broad jump, so he's still a really really good athlete at 196, just under 6 feet. So the thing about him is maybe he'll show more in the league, but on tape I didn't see no high level. Not high level, maybe like elite speed or recovery speed or just aggression when he broke on routes when needed. But overall, he's just a real smooth athlete. And I think the thing that I see was sure probably helped from learning from Nick Saban. He's really good just viewing, maybe not viewing, but just reading the offense in general, reading what the quarterback is kind of looking at, what the route patterns are on his side to kind of determine where he should be guarded or where the ball could go. And he did that so well for the first 2 seasons that he ended up getting targeted a lot this year. That pretty sure the only wide receiver I seen really give him the work was A.D. Mitchell, if off my memory. But otherwise, I think a little bit of Lad McConkey, but Lad McConkey everybody works, so that's not a surprise. So yeah, 3-year starter at Alabama, lined up primary and outside, and he is just really good football IQ. He's just an all around good cornerback. I can't say too many straight up flaws. It's just there's a certain limit on what I believe his game could be. That's why comparison wise, I know now he had a really, really bad season. People don't remember him, but what James Bradbury was at his
Mm.
best, he reminds me of that. Um, I'm gonna think of another comparison, but as I think, I'll let Brian or Mingles give any comments they have.
Not too much to add here. I mean, as you I think you were trying to allude to earlier, he's one of the guys that's probably the he might be the best tackling corner out of everybody in this draft. And as you said, of course, if you're going to play for Nick Saban, you got to be a willing tackler. Um, yeah, I didn't see too much on tape that how do I put it? There wasn't anything that wowed me or stood out, but there also wasn't a whole lot of flaws that he showed. So I think he'll be a good man zone corner, whichever one they decide to have him be. I think that he has the chance potentially to be a CB1, but for the most part, he'll probably be a CB2 in a good defense. To me,
You think it's CB2? I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Right now, he probably won't just come as a CB1, but I think down the line, he has the build of a CB1. Maybe not an elite one, but it's not going to be a DBer like damn. here we go. We got this guy on the outside again. Let's just hope he don't give up 300 yards again. But I think he'll be a very good, just reliable long-term CB1 in the league. Probably won't be elite CB1s that get paid the big amounts like the Jairs, the Jalen's, the
The Patricks.
Sauces,
Yeah.
the Patrick Surtains recently. But I think he'll be a really, really good CB1 like James Bradbury was until he came to Philly. Some maybe not good Xavier Howard, but to that type of level, he could be Xavier Howard's level.
Yeah.
That type of DB where it's like they'll still get paid pretty well and they'll be respected and they'll be relied on and he won't be just picked on and torn to shreds, but he won't be like just shutting everybody down like the other DBs do.
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah,
what it
James
is.
Bradbury.
I'm thinking about like the sauces and stuff instead of thinking like the Deontay's and people like that maybe. And maybe that might be too low for him as well, but
Trying to before I give another comment, I want to see his 40 time. That might be way off. Yeah, okay, that's just about what he ran. So see, he could be potentially AJ Terrell. Kind of like AJ Terrell. I know AJ Terrell now. He's basically I want to say elite, but he's just like the DBs that kind of name. He's not with the elite upper echelon of corners, but I think AJ Terrell is a really good corner that gets relied on as a CB1 and doesn't really let up a lot of like big plays and stuff like that. And that's just when you're just a reliable CB that doesn't get big plays. That's you're a really damn good cornerback in this league. That could be an outside cornerback one. I think of all the DBs that we kind of looked at, I think Kool-Aid might be the only one that I don't think should ever be in the slot.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he should never be in the slot. Based on what I've seen, Nick Saban never asked him to go in the slot. Maybe he can play in the slot, but I haven't seen that in 3 years at Alabama. If I feel like if you don't play a slot at all in 3 years, you're probably not gonna play it in the league. But we'll see what teams ask him. He should be a good, reliable outside corner. And if you watch the league nowadays, a lot of teams can use a good, reliable outside corner. So that's my top five cornerbacks. Honorable mentions. Like Mingle said, Ricochet from where you go? I can't think of
Missouri.
Missouri. Thank you. Trying to think.
I
My
like
personal,
Lester.
yeah, Kamari Lassner. I like Ronaldo Green from Florida State. Kamari Lassner
Yeah,
is
that's
really,
your boy.
yeah, that's my boy, man. Real like, there's not a lot of DBs that play just press man, and Florida State asked their DBs to do that a lot, and Ronaldo Green did that a lot, and he shut down Malik Neighbors. He pressed Brian Thomas Jr. He pressed. I'm sure he pressed the shit out of Keon Coleman practice because I mean, who doesn't? But
The competition is
yeah,
there.
yeah, the competition was there. Oh, there's a can't forget. I was looking at my rankings. Mike
From
Sandstrill from
Michigan.
yeah, slot corner. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of his tape, but from what I tell, he's probably the best slot straight primary slot DB in this draft. He's about 5'9". I see comparisons to Mike Hilton, and Mike Hilton's a really been really good slot corner slash outside corner for a very long time in this league. So Mike Sandstrom, I'm trying to think is anybody else. Oh, TJ Tampa. Uh, he's tall. He got long arms, but that boy's stiff as hell. So we'll see. Pause. Max Milton. Just hyper athletic from what I've seen, and then I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go through my list.
DJ,
And the rest.
or
You
is
said
that
who? Who'd you say?
DJ James from Auburn, or is that
Let me see. You can say him if you got anything you want to add on him. You can go ahead. Trying to see.
I didn't get to see a whole lot. I just know he was one of the people that was like around my top 10 in rankings.
I see DJ James and 4-4 at the combine. Yeah, I can see that. At this point, you're no longer looking for corners that's good all around. You're kind of looking for corners that primarily fit your scheme, either
Yeah,
like basically play in college or maybe athletically what they already just if they're 6 foot and stuff like that. Do they have fluid hips that maybe you can coach them up? That's when you get past like that first, second round. You start talking about second round, third round, day two, day three type corners. And then that's pretty much it for me. If y'all want to talk about any safeties quickly, y'all could, but I wouldn't say there's any really, really good safeties in this draft compared to when we had Cal Hamilton coming out
yeah,
or Brian Branch from last year, who I think came into safety, but basically played primary slot corner last year and was basically one of the best slot corners in the league, offer up. So I don't have anybody like that in this league, in this draft. So if y'all have anybody I want to talk about, y'all can. Otherwise, we can close this out.
Yeah, I don't really have anybody safety wise. I just know Kitchens and Newbin are probably guys that'll probably go in the second round. So those would probably be the names to look at. But just for your corner
Oh,
point, oh, go
quick
ahead. Go
question.
ahead.
The names you said: Newman, Kitchens, Javon Bullard,
I know
and
Sion Vaki from Utah, I think.
right. And then there's one more, Kalen Bullock from USC. They should
Oh,
all be day two, maybe early day three type safeties. Just overall in the league, safety's not valued. I won't
yeah.
say as much as they used to be because they never was really that crazy about it. It's just they don't have the impact on the game that a lot of that this draft class took has the impact on the game that a lot of lead safeties have. Like nobody coming out like Derwin James type hype or Cal Hamilton type hype or yeah. How many league corners is left in the league? Oh, nobody has the cover skills that Minka Fitzpatrick came out with. This is just a really, this is a good, I want to say role player, but a good, if you want to use Madden, a good high 70, low 80s type safety class, in my opinion. So that's all I got for DBs. If y'all have anything y'all can add, we can. If not,
Nah,
we can
just
close.
before season
The
goes, just to agree with your point. I think Renardo's probably like that baseline. Like if you get anybody above him, you probably feel like this is a guy that has a chance to be more than just a system player. But after Renardo was probably like, okay, we're trying to find guys that can fit in this one spot.
Yeah, that's a good way to call it. They used to call it the Kirk Cousins line because they say if you have a QB that's good or better than Kirk Cousins, you have a franchise QB. If you don't, that means you need to replace the QB. So that's kind of what I would think for this class. Once you get below Ronaldo Green, it gets a little
A little
someone's
shaky.
like someone's like, do you really need a corner that bad to draft one of these guys? What you doing for? We'll see. But that's all I got. Mingles, I'll let you close it out.
Man, I was just gonna say that Brian Branch mentioned just sent a shudder down my spine, man. I was one of my favorite prospects in the draft last year, but this class doesn't really compare safety wise. Not to say that there won't be any successful safeties from this class, but just as prospects, none of them truly like stand out in comparison to previous years, like you said. But the cornerback position definitely could be pretty deep in terms of success in the NFL, especially with those five guys that we mentioned. Even a guy like Rackstraw or Kamar Lassiter, or even your guy Ronaldo Green, he just seems like the type of guy who'll be a draft sleeper who will end up having some form of success in the league.
Yeah.
As a like you said, that press man ability that he's been working on at Florida State the whole time. So it's deep with corners, and I think the safeties will probably find a few decent starters, and that sometimes that's all you really need in the middle rounds, a decent starter, because that's you're not really going to see a lot of safeties go first, second round in this class. You're looking for the role players on your defense from this class, and you're just looking for somebody who will fit into what you're trying to do, whatever your scheme is. I don't think there's going to be a true safety one from this class. It'll just be whoever fits best with whatever that team is drafting at that time. But nobody else has anything. I'm ready to close if you all are.
Just one more thing, really. Overall, this might be one of the I don't want to say the deepest or most talented, but it'd probably be one of the best cornerback classes we had in recent memory. I know we had some good cornerback classes, of course, with the Sauce Gardner and Derek Sling ones and the Patrick and J.C. Horn one, but overall, I feel like we're gonna see our top five corners. I'll be surprised if they're not all taking the top 24. And I don't remember the last time there's been five corners taking the top 24 in the draft. Wherever the Packers pick is, I believe that's where the last of the top five corners will be taken if they're not taken already.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, that might be the highest in a minute.
I'm trying to
I'm a
think because I don't remember when the run on corner started last year.
uh last year there was corners drafted like that last year.
I thought because I know Devin
Oh,
went,
or the
Christian
year before.
Christian Gonzalez went, Manuel Forbes went, Deontay Banks went. I think that was it because
All right,
Joey went in the second round.
that's five. No, that's four.
Yeah, that's
Where's
four.
Gonzalez, Deontay, Forbes, and then Joey Porter went first in the
In the second round,
fifth
yeah.
round. So let me see. Uh, Yeah, overall, it would definitely be one of the highest, most DBs taken in a minute. So I'm ready to see how it shakes out, what it ends up like. So yeah, that's all I got on my end. What you got, Mingles?
I got the closure. So you guys know the deal. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the What's the Play podcast. Stay tuned. We have more content coming on the way. We'll eventually get back to the whole podcast content as a whole. But for now, we'll really focus on the draft. The draft is coming up in 2 weeks. This is probably one of my favorite times of the year, the NFL draft. And so we're really getting down to the stretch. We have one more mock draft for you guys. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And then our cornerback episode will be coming out. And then after the cornerbacks, we'll focus on the trenches, guys. So be ready for that. Stay tuned for the next play. I'm Christian, here with Brian and Sportsfan. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Oh, dang. How you do that?
How do you do?